but them supporting us in the things that we do ourselves. What is it about you that you think your spouse gave you that yes to that business? I mean, you were working at Southern as a sales position, which, I know that's a good job. And
I was a sales manager actually at the time. Yeah, even
great
better.
Company.
Yeah.
What are some of those personality traits, or what are some of the things that you guys had gone through where she gave you that yes so easily? I don't want to say it was easy, but tell us about that.
I think for her, it was a confidence and a belief too that regardless of how it worked out, that she was committed to us and to our family, and had faith that even if things didn't work out, would be okay.
Yeah.
And living without fear is probably the strongest and the best attribute you can have in your life is to not be fearful. And so many people don't do things because they are afraid. And that's one of the things that I try and teach my kids is, even as they've been going in interviewing for jobs, and this is for all young people, not to be afraid, right? Not to be arrogant when you walk in, be humble, but to understand, look, you don't have to take the first job. You're interviewing that person in that organization because you want to go work in a place that you like, that you believe in, and that you believe in the culture and the people that work there. So instilling that in my kids and eliminating fear and knowing, hey, listen, never be afraid because you're going to make it no matter what. I kind of have this self-confidence that you could drop me off in the middle of anywhere and I'd find a way to make it.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's for a lot of entrepreneurs that they have that. And you love hearing, I don't love hearing the stories, but you hear the stories so many times about guys that have built and lost fortunes multiple times.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's just in them. It's that work ethic, that entrepreneurial brain and thought process that keeps them going. And,
along with that too, because normally those stories that you hear about losing the fortune and regaining it, they talk about once you've learned how to achieve a certain status of income, that you know how to make it again, meaning that dollar amount. So if you're used to making $20,000 a month and you lose it all, you know how to get back to $20,000 a month.
You'll find a way. Your brain will force you to find a way.
Yeah. I've been really fortunate to be with a wonderful woman that is raising my two kids. It's very supportive of me and my crazy ideas. When we got together, I was on the tail end of a successful business and thinking about doing my next thing, and she said yes, and then yes to the next thing. It takes a lot of work to have that in a relationship, and I think that can't be reiterated enough to entrepreneurs out there, is that, if you have the confidence at home and the support mechanisms at home, you can go out and be successful. But that takes a foundation of work too.
Oh, absolutely. Look, what my wife did to support me, to support our family, and keeping everyone happy and moving forward was, at 50% is probably low.
Yeah.
Part of our success. It is our success.
You said that it was a long-term goal of yours to have your own business. Was your wife aware of your long-term goal, or do you guys sit down and write out goals, or you talk about what your short and long-term goals are?
I think that was more of a personal goal that I had at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that it was part of her plan. I think she was pretty happy where we were.
Yeah.
But for me, it was wanting the freedom to be able to come and go as I please, and to have the time to make sure that I get to see my kids, make sure I don't miss a soccer game. I coached for many years, and I didn't miss a thing. Dance recitals and school performances and awards, and that was important to me to not miss out any of that. I didn't travel.
Mm-hmm.
Which I was very fortunate during those years that I really didn't travel at all. So I was home every night, and that was important.
Yeah. So taking the opportunity to buy Liquorama. Now, I know enough about the business, and I don't know if this was 100% true about you, but these sales jobs within these big distributors, they're not necessarily cushy, but they're comfortable. You got a good salary, probably a company car, company phone, all these resources, and you're going, okay, I don't have enough money to buy this business, so I'm going to beg, borrow, and steal to buy Liquorama. That's a big leap.
It was. It was something I certainly took a step back in salary.
Yeah, of course.
And benefits. There was literally no pay. You just kind of working to to live. But it was something that I wanted to do, and I when I wrote my original, and I still have my original briefcase and business plan in my office because it's a reminder. So I started my first website in 2001, which back in the day, you remember, was dial-up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So being able to process orders and for customers to get online, I think now we're almost probably 25 or 30% mobile, right?
Yeah.
With people that make their orders. But we started with one website in 2001 and a belief that internet e-commerce was the way of the future. And it has been, and it's been great for us because part of our reach was, look, even if I capitalized on the entire market where our store was, I couldn't reach the other 350 million people in the United States.
Yeah.
And I wanted access to them.
Yeah. I'm going to take a step back because you said something that's really important. So you're going to buy this business, and it's been a dream of yours, but you mentioned you still have your first briefcase from that and your business plan. I want to hear a little bit about that because you bought a business that's running already.
Right.
So you thought you needed to write a business plan for Lookarama, even though it was already existing. I love that. By the way. Anybody that's going to start a business or be involved needs to have a plan. And if they don't, they're destined to fail. So here you are buying a business that exists, and you wrote a business plan.
Yeah, I was big on goal and writing down goals and goal setting, and the business plan was just a natural for me. First thing I did was I renegotiated the lease, which they said that I couldn't do, but I did it anyways. I love hearing people tell me that I can't do something.
Yeah, of course.
Right? So I renegotiated the lease, and I talked the landlord into my beliefs and believing in my business plan and why he had to cut the rent. And he believed it. And he cut the rent. And then we added, part of my business plan was a tasting bar.
Okay.
For wine tasting.
Yep.
Expanding the selection, cleaning, it was pretty run down. We got it. And we had a lot of old inventory to get rid of. And I had a plan to exit out of all that old closeout merchandise. And that was it. It was step by step, and I had just and I built the plan out because I bought it in '98, and the website didn't start till 2001.
Okay.
So I had knew that there was a timeline to my plan, and we're still working on that plan. Believe it or not, today.
I believe it.
Because it never stops. If
Yeah.
you're not resetting your goals and changing your goals, and I'm 21 years in, and I'm writing the pathway now for the next 20 years.
Now, when you wrote the first business plan, was online part of your original business plan, or did you evolve?
No, it was. So I was an early incubator on computers. I was going to the CompuWare and the computers. What was it, CompuWare or ComputerStore? I forget the name of it.
CompuWare.
Right, CompuWare. And I bought my first computer probably in 95. And I just kind of had, I was on dial-up and realized that I wanted to be on the web. And 2001 was when we actually got to launch. It was January of 2001. I had bought the store. Maybe it was 2.5 years earlier. And now we have 5 websites.
Yeah.
So it's been good. It's been fun. It's a lot of learning. I wish I would have thought of social media at that time. But, how important social media has become for everyone that's in business. And if you're not involved in social media, you're missing out for sure. But, for young people, my kids, I kind of do this with all of my employees. I mentor as many as I can about goal setting and writing things down and reviewing those and coming up with a plan because it's important. Yeah,
I talked, talking about that plan evolve, and we had a guy by the name of Kim Barrett on the show a few weeks ago. We talked about the byproduct of the business, right? And usually when you've got a good business plan and you're running that formula, you have the opportunity to see what a byproduct could be because you've got it all mapped out. And that's why I asked if the web was an afterthought, because that's a great byproduct. Just like social media is a great byproduct of the internet and what you can build out of it now that people need to take advantage of. So you started building out the website in 2001. How did that what was the early success of that? We know what it is today, and you can talk about where it is today, but you were really ahead of the curve.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I will tell you, and Dave, our internet manager, has been with us for now since 2001. He believed in the concept as well, and that, you need others around you. You need good people to build a successful organization. I'm grateful to have two amazing managers that have been with me now for 20 years. It's important to have those around you to support you, not only externally but internally.
Mm-hmm.
And getting that first order and seeing the growth. I mean, we were growing, as you can imagine, about 30% month over month, year over year it was probably about 122 months straight.
Wow.
It just kept, it just kept snowballing. And then we started our newsletters, and that added a whole nother component to it. And it's been exciting. I mean, just to watch it grow and see the formation of an entire industry, and the fact that we're supporting employees and then teaching people and creating jobs that didn't exist 20 years ago. And that's part of my 20-year plan is, as we know, finding positions for jobs that we don't even know exist right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What will be the new 20-year job?
Well, I've been into your store enough and have had the chance to meet some of your staff. It's funny you talk about that, because look at just the craft beer movement. And I know you've got somebody on your staff that's very familiar with craft beers, and 10 years ago that didn't exist.
That's right.
Now you need a craft beer expert like a sommelier in your wine department.
That's right. The craft distilleries. I mean, it just goes on and on. All the new things that will pop up in our world, and being able to change and morph. And I was at my daughter's apartment, and she's got Alexa, and Alexa controls all the lights, and you think you're up to date on what's going on, but there's always something new.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Especially when your kids show you.
That's right. I love learning. I love learning from young people. I love learning from old people, because they both have a story to tell.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. I think that's one of the benefits of not only doing this podcast for myself, but listening to other podcasts, because there's so much information out there to share. And this is an easy way to consume it. We interviewed Bruce Myers, who invented the Myers-Manx back in 1967.
Great interview. I love that.
Thank you. 93 years old, but you listen to him talk about business and the way things were, and you can pick up something from that, richness that society had back in the 50s and 60s, that, we lose some of that. And it's nice to think about that and maybe be somebody that influences to bring those niceties back and the way we treated people and things like that. But when you started your business and you're going down the road, maybe in year one, did you envision the success that you have today? Were you 100% confident that this was going to work, or were you really going into it thinking, I hope this works? What was your mindset at the time?
Yeah, I would never say that I had this all planned out.
Yeah.
I will tell you, it has been a ride I never thought I'd be on. And it's been exciting and fantastic, and I'm grateful. And that kind of leads me back to the giving back, right? I had hoped it would be successful, but I knew I was going to work hard no matter what. And I had always seen in my life, the harder I work, the luckier I get.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked very hard, and I continue. Look, I'm working every day as it is now. And I pick and choose the times when I get to work. That's
Sure.
the fortunate part. But, yeah, I never could have envisioned it would go to where it's at. I mean, the fact that we have such fast internet connections now helped us dramatically. We saw a huge increase. The fact that customers are able to sit in a waiting room and use their mobile phone to order anything they want off the web.
Yeah.
Right? So things like that, I couldn't imagine that those were in front of us, and that helped tremendously. The fact that Amazon has created a need for instant gratification when you order something has probably hurt us a little bit, because people don't want to wait. But, what we have is worth waiting for.
Yeah, sure.
So I wanted to kind of lead into something you had said earlier about your podcast and meeting people. And for me, it was really important in my success